2020. When the world was going through this unique and crazy scenario of the pandemic, NASA braved another project, fifth of its kind. Not just any project. But before I go deep into it, I'm not an expert in this, but like every child, I too had a childhood fascination of being an astronaut or just studying the realms of the universe and the cosmos. So today's topic is something really close to my heart with that regard. With that all set aside, I just want to talk about why this mission is so interesting for just the future frontier of humanity. I feel like we might just start etching ourselves as humans into the next frontier, which is eventually the space age. I mean, we are already in the space age, but I think the more we have the rovers up there doing the geological surveys, the more we can get confident in sending real human beings there. As much as I am a sci-fi nerd, and I'm obviously writing the book about a scenario that is science fiction, this is very far from fiction, definitely. Because today, NASA's Perseverance made its touchdown on the Jezero crater, up close to the North Pole. Now for context, how would that even sum up if I were to compare it to Earth? You could say that somewhere close to on the similar patterns of where Tromso is on Earth. It's on the similar kind of a belt there. Just a sci-fi nerd here, so I'm just going to geek out a couple of important things. Why this is so critical. One, it's pretty substantial in that it's learned from its predecessors from a bunch of different things, and it's also claimed to be the fastest rover, even though it's not as fast as how you would expect commercial vehicles to be, but still it's faster than the other rovers, so that's also a leg up in terms of expeditions. Plutonium has been in talks for a long time, but with Perseverance, plutonium is the main source which is driving itself, making it radioactive but also beneficial, because that's the heat, the excess heat from that energy source is what is going to keep itself warm during the extremities of the Martian weather. From the science fiction point of view, some things which are really, really interesting and I feel really crucial, specifically for me, would be the fact that for the first time we would be able to hear or get public record of what Mars would sound like. Because I have been dying to hear how Mars would sound. I mean, we know how Earth sounds, the different sounds we have on Earth. And we've had literary books, science fiction books, by writers visualizing that. But for the first time, we're actually going to be having audio in the next couple of weeks and months that'll actually give us audio of what the Martian grounds sound like. So that's going to be crucial, especially when science fiction authors and creatives and writers and everybody is focused on Mars, and those who are Mars enthusiasts, we will get a small glimpse on how exactly it is to get that, because being human beings, I feel like that's one of the elements of the holistic experience, the five senses. So this is one of those five senses that we would be able to tap into. Besides from the fact sheets, which are obviously openly available on Google, from the science fiction standpoint, the Perseverance rover will definitely open up doors and opportunities for science fiction enthusiasts of all different kinds, not just writers, but writers and artists of all different sorts, to visualize even more. Because just where Perseverance landed itself is so unique. I mean, obviously the scientists know the purpose of it, but Jezero crater seems to have water or the clues of water because of the inlet and the outlet of a kind of a canal system. And they've also mentioned that they have a delta pass there, so they will also search on that. Given that even if we don't have life, or if we do have life, the idea of being on another planet, and as we speak, Perseverance is actually there just makes you feel like how close we are to touching fiction with fact. That makes me wonder that it's 10 feet tall, given that it won't have anything to compare itself anyways with. But just imagine, 10 feet tall amongst humans is large, but on a Martian crater, it's tiny. That's how big it is. It's 10 feet tall, Perseverance. But this time, Perseverance isn't alone. Perseverance also is packaging itself with a tech demo, which is for the first time an aeronautical instrument that's been named Ingenuity. A helicopter kind of a device that will be capturing images from the Martian sky. That's another interesting thing for the science fiction and the sci-fi world, especially the science nerd communities, because I feel like we've seen a lot of drone images on Earth and we've been oversampled with them. But seeing a drone footage from Mars, oh boy, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna flip over when I get to see that. Even though Perseverance is an absolute external clone of the 2011 Curiosity rover, internals have been modified and even upgraded. They have a new cutting-edge laser that can help dive deep into the soil to see subsurface level organisms and even water. Because that's another thing that this time people are looking for. I think we all are also keen on. Because if there is water, that's going to open up a whole different segment for us humans. Because I mean, that's the biggest point why we are even trying this. What started with the Kitty Hawk will now push forward with Ingenuity, being the first helicopter to be on another planet that would take off. That is in itself another breakthrough. And I feel that's kind of going to be interesting, especially with the perspective that we will get from a different vantage point compared to what Perseverance would give us. Besides from those kind of things, another really interesting and forward-thinking approach, which I feel would set us, given that I am predominantly a futurist in that way, and I kind of see this element on Perseverance as the starting point for something that we might be doing moving forward from 2100. That is the use of plutonium as a source of energy. That does make sense because, I mean, even though we have solar panels and everything, sometimes, I mean, with opportunity, we also got to witness if the winds and the dust storms can cover up those wind panels, it can get impossibly difficult for the power source to come back up. So, Perseverance is not just a science experience for NASA, and an interesting approach for sci-fi communities to tap more into a place that has so much potential and so many things to look up to. There are amples of movies and books about it. But with Perseverance up there, and whatever public resources we get from NASA, it's just going to be so much more interesting to learn about it, especially with Ingenuity's aerial photographs. Because that is another thing, because we have seen satellite imageries, but with the helicopter imagery, I think things will be a lot more interesting. When I first read about Ingenuity as a second hardware helicopter component with Perseverance, I wondered to myself, how is it going to run? Because there is obviously a standard delay between Mars and Earth. But then upon reading, I realized that Perseverance is going to be the one that's going to be operating the rover. Perseverance is the one that's going to be operating Ingenuity. So it's going to be the first autonomous helicopter run based on Perseverance, which is insane. I mean, we have so much issues with AI, but I feel like in the frontier of space, AI might be the thing to work with. I mean, from petty things like hard drive crashes, like happened a couple of days back, feels like weeks for me. Those things, I don't know about. But with high-level things like space, I think we could definitely trust on AI. Because that's where we could see it excel and even benefit humanity, like we're seeing with Perseverance and Ingenuity. Which is another reason why I'm seeing 2100 having a lot of integration with AI and humanity. I mean, I know this might trigger many people, whoever watches this, but hey, it's a change. 100 years back, if someone told us about electricity, many people would have frowned on us. But Nikola Tesla and many people like him thought about it. Well, now we are in that kind of a pedestal where we are kind of skeptical about space and AI. But I think even 2100, that's the way forward. I like it or not, I don't know, but I mean, change is change, and we gotta work with it. But yeah, Mars. That's all I've been thinking about today, because it's all over the news. And for 1 minute, I thought even I was on Jezero Crater, but then I forgot. I was not on Jezero Crater, I was just right here on planet Earth. Until then,